We'll do in Maimorim Meluket. This is the first Maimer in volume 4 in Chelik Daled. And this is the Maimer that the Rebbe said in Shabbos Parshas Koirach, which was Gimel Tamuz, in the year Tofshin Chai. In the note, it says here that this has been published later on in the Kuntras Gimel Tamuz in the year Tofshin Memtes. And over there in the writing, it says that this was in honor towards the Gimel Tammuz that is coming upon us. That's the day that the previous Rebbe went out of his imprisonment. And that was the beginning of the redemption of Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz. That's so it's started with the Gimel Tammuz. This was in the year Tavshim Memtes that it was published. So let's do the Maimer inside. So the Rebbe quotes a pasuk from Tehillim. The Tehillim says, "Hasom nafshenu b'chayim," that the one who puts, referring to Hashem, he's the one that who puts our soul in life. He doesn't allow for our foot to falter. The Rebbe is going to explain this pasuk based on a maimer of the previous Rebbe on Yud Beis Tammuz, which he said in the year Tofresh Sadik Hey, that there is a special level which Hashem puts our nefesh b'chayim. There is the level in which we are chayim, that we're alive, and then there's hasom nafshenu b'chayim. And what that accomplishes is that even in situation where naturally, because of our chayim, maybe we should falter, but hasom nafshenu b'chayim, from the higher level of chayim, he will not allow, he didn't allow for our feet to falter. As the Rebbe will explain, the feet represents when a person is busy in the work in Olam Hazeh. This is considered to be the foot of the person. The head would be the spiritual avodah, but the foot is the down to the asiya in the gashmis, in the world, and sometimes naturally the world will drag you down. Hasom nafshenu b'chayim v'loinosan lamoit ragleinu. Even ragleinu, he didn't allow for it to falter, as the Rebbe will explain. So my father-in-law, the Rebbe, in the Maimer that opens up with Hasom nafshenu b'chayim, that he was said by the Chag HaGeula of Yud Beis Tammuz. And the Rebbe points out that even though this was said by Yud Beis Tammuz, the Rebbe is sending it by Gimel Tammuz. But the Rebbe says Gimel Tammuz inherently is connected to Yud Beis Tammuz. It's one connection. Shahascholas HaGeula hoiso beGimel Tammuz. The beginning of the redemption came on Gimel Tammuz, because that is the day that the Rebbe was freed out of prison. Eventually, Yud Beis Tammuz, he was also, the decree that he has to be in exile was also taken away. So this is, Gimel Tammuz is the beginning of the freedom of Yud Beis Tammuz. So therefore, this Maimer that he said Yud Beis Tammuz is connected to the Shabbos that the Rebbe said is on Shabbos Parshas Koirach Gimel Tammuz. What does the Rebbe say there? The hachayim shobahem som nafshenu, that when we say he gives our lives in Chaim, that this Chaim in which he puts our soul, hem Chaim nailim yoiser, those are elevated life, a higher level of life, mechaya hanefesh mitzad atzma, than the life of the soul by itself. The Eibishter gives us a higher level of chayas, of life, more than we have on ourselves. The chayi hanefesh heim mugbolim. The life of the soul are limited, defined. The hagam shehanefesh hu chay be'etzem. So within the Chaim, we have the Chaim that comes from the soul to the body, and that's usually divided into two parts: the specific to each limb and the general Chayis to the body, to all limbs, similar to Seviv and Memali. And then you have the life of the soul itself, which is higher than the life that emanates into the body. But even the life, the Rebbe says, which is the nefesh by itself, is also limited. The level of asom nafshenu b'chaim is higher than that. Da'agam shehanefesh hu chai be'etzem. Even though the nefesh lives in essence, it's not shalamai lo mi'ispashtus achayus shemachayus aguf, which is higher than the expansion of the chayus, which vitalizes the guf. That means the nefesh has a chayus that emanates, comes from it to vitalize the guf. The life of the soul itself is higher than the life that emanates to vitalize, not only from this specific life, but also from the general energy that comes from the soul. The chai be'etzem of the soul is even higher than that. But still it's limited. Why? Kivon dezeh nefesh hu chai be'etzem. Since the fact that the nefesh is a life in its essence, hu mipnei sha'kadosh baruch hu hidbiya ba'nefesh tevazeh, that is because Hashem implanted, naturally gave the soul this nature, sheyiyeh chai be'etzem, that he should live, be a living thing in essence. L'chein gam chayis zeh, so therefore even that chayis, the chai be'etzem of the nefesh, the b'chinas chai be'etzem hu b'hagbala, it's limited. But when we say hasom nafshenu b'chayim, v'chayim shabahem som nafshenu, the chayim in which Hashem puts our soul, and l'mayla mehateva, they're higher than nature. This is what the pasuk means. He puts our soul in Chaim, in the higher level, and therefore, even Ragleinu, he doesn't allow to falter, to fail. That the power for this, that our feet should not be faltering, Zdavke from life which is higher than Tava. So the Rebbe is going to go now into a lengthy explanation about the parsha with Koirach, and the Rebbe is going to explain how Koirach had an argument also in Avodah. The jealousy, as the Rebbe explains in the Ha'oreh, that came later, but he had a philosophy. In his philosophy, there is an advantage just in the Maisa. So if we stick to that philosophy, there could be Lamoit Ragleinu. The level of Ragleinu will falter because Koirach was wrong at the end of the day. As the Rebbe will explain, the whole idea, what is going on with the Machlokes Koirach, how Aaron is Chesed and Koirach is Gevura. He thought that there is in Gevura itself, as there is value to it, but the ultimate goal is that it should be Yom Hashlishi, that there should elevate the Gevura, not for Gevura itself, but that there should be an elevation. Let's look at the minor. So we need to understand the reason. Why is it that if we just, from the perspective of just the soul itself, even if we talk about the level of chai be'etzem, there is possible to be our feet to falter. And the power that our feet should not falter, that is specifically from the Asom Nafshenu B'Chaim, from the Chaim, which we get higher than nature. The Gam Lahavin, the Rebbe also wants to understand, explain ha'shaychus the inyan zeh, the idea of this idea lagula Yud Beis Tammuz, the redemption Yud Beis Tammuz, in which the Rebbe will explain at the end of the Maimer that a similar situation was done by the Geula in the spiritual ideas between Korach and Moshe, as the Rebbe will explain. So yes, like the Masha Kostu Barish Parsha saying, in order to understand it, we have to introduce what is written in the beginning of the Parsha. It says, Vayikach Korach, and Toy Korach took. So what does it mean, Vayikach Korach? V'targum unkelus v'ispaleg Korach. Korach split. He split from the community. Vayikach, Korach is split from the community. The word Vayikach normally is translated as taken, nosiv. Here it's v'ispaleg. The Bakol, Mokim Shinema Vayikach, everywhere it says Vayikach Tirgem, the translation is from the Onkelos, V'nosim, and he took. V'kan Tirgem V'yispalik, here he translated that he split. V'isa B'sefer Noyam Elimelech, so in the Sefer Noyam Elimelech, it's brought down, the V'yispalik Koirach, this split of Koirach, who al derech Rekia hamabdil bein mayim l'mayim. This is similar that we say the firmament, the Rekia, is a dividing between the upper waters and the lower waters. Of course, Rekia hamabdil was what the Eibishter created, to be a Rekia hamabdil bein mayim l'mayim. That's not a negative. But here, the Ispalig Koirach, also in such a level of Hamabdil b'mayim l'mayim. So what's the explanation? Tzemach Tzedek explains the Pirush Zeh, that this interpretation should be Ispalik Koirach hu al derech Rekia Hamabdil, that Koirach split is similar to that it's the firmament that splits, hu al pi Mad'isa b'Zoyar, that's based on what we find in the Zoyar. The Rekia hamabdil havi machloikes smolo b'yemino. That Zoyar says this firmament that separates, this is sort of a separation, a discord of smolo b'yemino, the left with the right, a separation, a dividing, a split between the left and the right. In a similar way, is the Machloikes Koirach and Aaron similar to that split? So, from this, it seems that the Koirach has a direct connection to that split, according to the Zohar. Tzemach Tzedek explains, based on the Zohar, what the Noam Elimelech says, the Ispalig, that it means that he split, that it's al derech Rekia hamabdil, has a direct connection. It's not just because separation, machloikes, discord is connected to the separation, but it has an inherent connection between Koirach and Ispali and the Rekia hamabdil. The Rebbe explained them. As then move on from this, we understand Shashaychus the Ispalig Koirach Lirekia Hamabdil, the connection between Koirach split to the firmament that separates. It's not just the connection, because root of any machlokes, anytime there is a disagreement, there is a discord. Himirekia Hamabdil comes from the separation of Rekia. The Medrash says, so we see this in the Lama. How come on the second day of creation, B'yom Hasheni, it doesn't say in the Pasuk Kitov? Because that was the creation of discord, of separation. There's the separation of the Rekia Hamabdil b'mayim l'mayim. Shenemar v'hi mabdil b'mayim l'mayim, that it should separate the mayim l'mayim. Separation, disagreement, split is created on sheni, so we don't say toivad by it. So that would mean that any machlokes would be connected to the split. And it's not good, it's not toiv, because that's split over there. But there's more than the connection. But we're also, in addition, just this specific, this machlokes koirach ba'arin, the argument, the fight between koirach and arin against arin, he dugmas that is a similar b'shorshi, and the root is hamachlokes the rekiya hamavdil, the split of the rekiya that splits, that separates. Just as the separation of the firmament that's separated. That's a separation between the left from the right. In a similar way is the disagreement of Koirach and Arin. The Arin who bekava chesed Yamin. Arin is on the right line, which is Yamin, the line of chesed, kindness. Koyen is a isha chesed. Arin is on the kava chesed Yamin. The Koirach shehoya Levi, but Koirach, who was a Levi, hoya mibchinas gevuras. He was from gevuras, which is small. Koyen is chesed and Levi. This is a split from small and Yamin. V'yesh loymar, and v'yesh lohoisip, the Rebbe adds over here that the fact that there is a machlokes over here, and specifically it's a machlokes on Arin, have a connection. The shnei inyonim elu, that these two ideas, shebevi ispali koirach, that koirach split, which is machlokes, number one, and also bezesha cholak, specifically that he disagreed and he fought, he argued against Arin, shayochim zelazeh, they're connected to each other. And hine zeh shebrias hamachloikes rekia mavdil hoisu b'yom hasheni davkehu. Why was take this machloikes the rekia that splits, which is the creation of splitting of discord, disagreement? Why did it take place on the second day of creation specifically? Is because the first day is the midas of chesed, the way it comes in the order. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. So the first day is chesed, Yamin. Yom hasheni hu midas hagevurah, and the second day of creation is the measure of Gevurah, which is the level of small, which is left. Umitzad hagevurah, and from Gevurah, yes, nesinas mokim lemachloikes. From perspective of Gevurah, there is room for discord from machlokes. As the Zohar says over there, that Yemina ihu shlimo dekula, hulu beitalye kol shlimo, that the right side is the wholesomeness of all, and all shlemus, all wholesomeness is on the right. That's complete, no discord, no split. But then kad isar semola, when the left arises, isar machlokes, then arises machlokes. So basically, the left, Yom Sheni, which is small, which is the Gevurah, and that comes to Yom Sheni. So this would also tell us that it's not just that Koirach had an argument, but Koirach's essence is argument, because he is small, and small, once you have left is shayches kad isar smoli so machlokes. So based on this, we can say She'ikir inyone shel koirach. What is main aspect? What is koirach hu machlokes? Is disagreement. Kumuvon gam izeshom razal. We can also understand this from the saying of our stations, blessed memory. Kol hamachzik b'machlokes. So the statement says, anybody who holds on to a machlokes, to discord, Iver belav is going to be violating a lav. Any machlokes, you're violating a lav. What's the lav? Not to be like koirach and his community. So anytime when there's a machlokes, that's called koirach. That means that is what koirach is. The fact that one who holds on to discord, whatever machlokes it should be, is like koirach and his community, muchach. So that's evident. That the main aspect of koirach is discord. And the fact that he disagreed on Aaron Chesed, he wanted that the Gevurah should be the main, not the Chesed, not Aaron, but not the Kohen, but the Levi, who shall that's going to support who he is by and that's the connection that since he's machlokes, he wants to disagree on Aaron to represent the point that the left, the sheni, the smoil, that is the main. Is that the way you're going to strengthen the machlokes? So the Rebbe asks now, so it comes out as a spiritual inyan that he wanted to make Gevurah the main thing. But what's the idea of koirach to make the main thing? The Rebbe wants to explain this, that there is some validity to koirach. But at the end of the day, he made a mistake. Notwithstanding, the Rebbe brings down the note that Rashi says that he was jealous. Yeah, that came about, but there was also a rationalization in the spiritual sense that the Rebbe will explain. So we have to understand. It says about Koirach that he was smart. And it's therefore logical to say, why did he disagree on the kahuna of Aaron? He made a mistake in the ways of service, and that's why he came to a wrong conclusion. So it's a more spiritual, more than the just simple meaning that he made a mistake, and but it has an avoida, also a meaning in mistaking his approach to the service of Hashem. So the Rebbe says, so since Koirach was a pikach, and he is fighting because of Avodah Hashem, so it's not understood. Why did he want machlokes? The fact that he fought against Aaron, we can explain Koirach was of thought that the service of Hashem needs to be in the line of Gevurah. He thought that his line of smoil is the right way. That's why he argued against Aaron, whose service was on the Kavach Chesed. But based on what we just explained, that he wanted to make the Gevurah's main. He wanted to strengthen the machlokes. He wanted to strengthen the separation, the division, and that's why he was arguing against Aaron and Emuva. It's not understood. Hey, Choshav Koirach. How was Koirach's thinking that discord, machlokes, is a way in avodas Hashem? He's trying to strengthen his machloikis, not trying to strengthen gevura, but he's trying to strengthen machloikis. How did he in a move? How could he think that machloikis is a derech b'avodas Hashem? Also, want to understand this that we translate that koirach split, and he says the Noimel Melech said the Vispalik who al derech rikiya hamavdil, that this split is similar to the firmament that separates. So we have Vayikach koirach that he split, but the truth of the matter is koirach itself is already a split. And here it's a split, looks like Vayikach koirach. L'chayre, haragam shmoy shel koirach atzmai. Also, the name koirach by itself, remez al rikiya hamavdil, that points to, that hints to the firmament that splits. Just his name koirach, without the ispali, without doing anything. Not that he's strengthening, he's just machloikis by himself, k'meshikosuv, or on the split of the rikim, meshikosuv hatzamach tzedek ala posik vayikach koirach. Hatzamach tzedek writes on the verse yikach koirach shekoirach remez al rikiya mavdil, that koirach hints on the firmament k'meshikosuv rikiya ke'ena kerach. The firmament was like the ice. Kerach, koirach, same line, same words. So what's the addition that koirach was split when he himself is already, koirach is already the firmament? And the Rebbe is going to explain that Takid, the firmament, and that split is not necessarily wrong. That's something the Eibishter created. And even though on the second day, it doesn't say kitoiv because it's split, but then we do say on Yom Shlishi 2 times kitoiv also for that split. Why are we saying the split? Because the kavanah of the split is that it should be a yearning to go up from the lower level to the higher level. But when it comes to koirach, he wanted not just as the natural split that there is. That's okay, but when he wanted to be machzik and to strengthen the machlokes, meaning that he wanted that there should be a conclusion, and that's with gevura, without the gevura later on breaking through the yom hashlishi to come up to the higher level. Let's look inside. We'll understand this by introducing, that's what is known with regards to the firmament, which splits between the mayim and mayim, the mayim elyonim and the mayim tachtonim. So mayim, waters, are representative of tainug, of delight. There is the upper delight and the lower delight, and there is a split between them. The mayim hem tainug. Mayim are the level of delight. That's why we say water grows all pleasurable things. Is because in water there is the idea of delight, and therefore they grow all kind of delicious things. Water makes it grow. But the mayim over here represents tainug, delight. The firmament that splits between the all upper waters to the lower water, that is the curtain, the cover, that through which the separation between the pleasures binyonim haruchnim mayim elyonim, the upper waters b'tanugi elam hazeh mayim tachtonim, and the pleasures of this world, which is the lower water, that is created by the rikiya. What is the purpose, the intent of that firmament, of that split that separates the upper waters and the lower waters. So that through that split, these lower waters will be elevated to a higher level, than the level they were before they descended. So when we create that split and we send the water from below to the water below, that's for the purpose that eventually that they should reach a higher level after the split than the level that they were before the split took place. Through their descent below, creates in them that yearning and that thirst to go up higher, to go up above. As it says, Mayim tachtoinim boichin, anon ba'inon lemehevikamim alko, the waters below, they cry that they want to be in the Kunizer, that they want to be before the king. But they cry and they have that yearning because they went down. And when they cry out for that higher level, like they say, they are elevated to a higher level than they were before they came down. Not only that, and they're also even higher than the waters of above. Through their coming down below, they come up to a higher level, even in the Mayim Elyonim. This is what our sage of blessed memory say. The fact that on the third day, on Yom HaShlishi, it says 2 times Kitoiv in the Pasuk on the third day, one for the creation, the work of the water. The Mlechas Hamayim means the split of the Rikia, of the water. So, and one for what the Tuesday's creation. The Lechaida, how the Mlechas Hamayim who in Yeshua Machloikis. The Mlechas Hamayim is the Machloikis, that's the Rikia Hamavdil, Vechneimer Azekitoiv. On the second day, we don't say it because we don't say Kitoy because there was a split. So how do we say on Tuesday, on Yom Shlishi, we say 2 times, one for the Melechas Hamayim, which is a split. So what's the explanation of this? That through the work of man, that brings about the sorting out and the elevation of the lower waters. And therefore, by Yom HaShlishi, on the Tuesday, on the third day, when the water were gathered, the water that was beneath the Shamayim gathered in one place, and the Yabasha was visible. The Yabasha, what does it mean that Yabasha was visible? The Yabasha in B'Kayim Shalodam, a person lives in the dry land. That's the person who was visible. So it became apparent the place of the person. Nishlema hakavona de mlechas hamayim. So that completed, that fulfilled the intent of creating of the water. Shayidei havdolas mayim hatachtoinim mayim elyonim. Through the separation of the upper and the lower waters. And their descent below, the Milo Yosef, then they are elevated even higher than they were descended. The Makai Mishaladam, the person's place was revealed then. After there became the possibility of this elevation, because the Abosha, the person's work, and he can elevate it to the higher level. Also, the work of the Mayim is good. So therefore, there was a improvement actually through that descent. So originally it was Machloikis, but that Machloikis brought about that the descent should be in a higher level. The Yirah Shabosha, the person's work, is revealed. So now we can reach to the higher level. So now we understand why Koirach wanted this machlokes. According to this, we understand why Koirach wanted this machlokes, one machlokes. Because Koirach thought שהכוונה בזה שמים התחתונים נבדלו ממים העליונים. That the intent, why is there lower waters, how come they have been separated from the מים העליונים? ויורדו למטה, they came down below. He thought ובשביל המיילה שישנם בהתענוגים הגשמים עצמם, because of the advantage or the elevation, the Maila in the physical Tanugim itself. The Shodesh Hagashmi is who the Maila Yosem Shodesh Haruchnis, because the root of the physicality is higher than the root of the spirituality. So he thought that there should be the machloikes, there should be the separation from between the Mayim Tachtonim and the Mayim Elyonim. The Mayim Tachtonim should not want to go up and elevate higher than the Mayim Elyonim. They should be below, because there is an advantage in the Gashmis, because the Gashmis Tanugim have a root which is higher than the Ruchnis. This is similar to what's explained in Torah. The Ba'olam Elyonim Nemar Magodlu Ma'asecha. Say Magodlu Ma'asecha and Marabu Ma'asecha. So this is the Pasuk in Tilim, in Tzadik Beis Zayin, Akudal Chavdalet. So in the Eilam Esel Yonim, we say Magodlu Ma'asecha. That's the greatness. That's, you can recognize that in the upper worlds. But the Inyan Marabu Ma'asecha, but the idea how much is your Ma'asecha, which is even more than Godlu, who ba'ilum es hatachtonim davke. That's in these lower worlds. V'inyan haribui moira ala shleimus de insof. The fact that there is a multitude, the ribui, that points to the wholesomeness of the insof. She'im hayose yochid. Although he is singular, he's only by himself. He also carries many details. So that's why Koirach wanted that the Gevuris should be the main in the Gashmis, because of the Shoirish, that should be the main. Why are the lower waters crying that we want to be in the Tikkun Israel brought down before, that we want to be before the king? Because they feel the advantage of revelation. They want to be where there is revelation, not in the mata, not in the tachtonim. They feel the chesed yamin of kindness yamin. Since the revelations are mainly in the upper worlds, the lower waters that don't have this revelation, they want to go out from their existence. They want to go higher. So that is really the kavanah, and that is mein tachtonim boichen alamev kavanah. But according to Koirach's mistake, that the intent is for those physical delights itself, not in order to want to go up higher. So that in the physical delight should be revealed the root, the higher Gashmi. So but then, according to his mistake, the main advantage is in these restrictions and the Gevuris and the strength to be in this world, from which the physical matters are created. But this is wrong. But Koirach made a mistake in this. Because the revelation of Mayim HaTachtonim, the Gashmim, Atzmam, that revelation of the root of Mayim Tachtonim themselves, that is going to be in the future to come. In order for it to be the revelation of the root of the lower water by themselves, first they must sense the advantage of revelation. They must, and then through that sense, that feeling, they have that thirst and the yearning to go up above. And then through this, the Mayim HaTachtonim Atzmon, then will be the revelation of the root of the Mayim Tachtonim themselves. And this is also the explanation that it doesn't say Kitov in the work of the water until Tuesday, until the Yom Shlishi. Even though the Maila of Meleches Hamayim as it is on Yom Sheni, which is the Tachtonim, the Gvuras, the Maila in Tanugim Gashmim, is possession nivdlu mayim atachtonim and mayim alyonim yord l'mato. So there was that separation between the lower water and the upper waters that they went down below, and that has a higher root, as we said before. Kagilu de mayla zeu yirak lo'osilovi. So in essence, the fact that there is a Yerida, that there's Gashmis, is the in essence in Shadish higher. How come that wasn't sensed on the Yom Sheni? Kagilu the Maila Ze Yirak Losilove. Because that Maila of Gashmis itself will only be in the future to come. But now the intent of Yiridis Hamayim Lamato, it's in order they should go up above, higher. Now, I said before, the Inyan Zeh Nase B'Yom HaShlishi Dafke. That takes place Yom HaShlishi in order for them to go up higher. Derech Zeh B'Chlolus HaInyan the Gilui V'Tzimtzum. The general idea of Gilui, which is Shoresh HaChesed, the root of Chesed is Gilui V'Tzimtzum, which is the root of Gevurah. The Amaila Shabbat Tzimtzum Atzmai, the advantage of Tzimtzum itself, is Gala Rak Losid Love. That will only be revealed in the future to come. But the intent of Tzimtzum as it's now, Ubishvil Hagilu is for Gilui. So Tzimtzum itself has a Maila. It actually has a higher root. But that will be Losid Love. Now, the Tzimtzum is for the Gilui. So that should be a Bechina, not Bechina, Malko, in order to get to the higher level, to the level of the Mayim Elyonim and even higher.